Hi everyone, it's Karen here with Series 5 of our Oracle Card series. Now this series deals with the bridge back to the self and your intuition and inner wisdom. Now I have shuffled the cards, and a card that jumped out at me was be true to who you are. So instead of Oracle cards putting the Oracle cards down and giving a reading of the external circumstances that you're in, you can do the same for your internal world as well. If you want to sort of dig a little bit deeper into what's in your inner landscape and find out what are those niggly bits in there, and just checking in on your temperature at the time, at the moment, and find out what wants to speak to you. Because as in previous videos, I've mentioned that the subconscious mind, it deals with symbols. That's why it talks. It doesn't talk by linear time or language. It gains knowledge by symbols. Now the symbology in Oracle cards can be varied. There's quite a few different pictures in Oracle cards, as you know. But the one that I picked out here, I've been I think I've been feeling a little bit like this today. It's a unicorn with wings. Now it says, be true to who you are. Fear will not stop you from shining. So today I've been feeling just a little bit out of sorts. And here we've got a unicorn with wings, which states you just feel a bit different, a bit, odd, strange, different, however you want to put it across. And I thought that's quite fitting, sort of how I'm feeling. As you can see with the unicorn here, I mean, it is be true to who you are. And I feel that I've been on a pathway for quite some time to get to a point of, getting to know who I am, understanding the multifaceted parts of myself. It's been a long journey, but it's been well worth it. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. There's, of course, the spiritual journey is not all, butterflies, unicorns and rainbows. There can be some really, tough times you go through emotionally, and there's other times where there's a, glimmer of hope, and it's just all, fantastic. It's normal, up, down, up, down, up, down. But then you eventually get to I'm going to say a flat line, but eventually get to a place where it's not as, up and down, because you've learned how, how to deal with your emotions and sort of not allow them to get on top of you too much. You still have emotions and let them out, of course, but you don't allow them to sort of consume your life. You sort of understand a little bit more where they're coming from, and you can, soothe yourself a lot quicker than, previously. But the unicorn here is standing out on its own, and you can see there's some orbs there, so there is some guidance, coming through. The clouds are dark, which shows emotions are a little bit blah, but there's light shining through. So it's not all bad, I mean, I don't feel all bad, I just felt a bit blah today. So, and that's okay. It's okay for me to feel that way. It's okay for anyone to feel that way. It's just a natural progression, We all have emotions. We all deal with emotions, and it's a good thing. It's our temperature control. It's our barometer to let us know where we are in life. But yeah, I found this card very fitting for me today. Be true to who you are, and fear will not stop you from shining. There's a few, and this is from the Inner Child Oracle. I did a lot of work with this deck, and I did quite a bit of journaling. I went through, made sure, I sat down and went through the cards from 1 to, there's 44, I think 54, no, 44 cards. I went through, 1 up to 54. It took a little bit of time, but I made sure I sort of sat down and And did a little bit of journaling on these cards. Another one, you know, go inward. It's time to connect to your inner child. And I learned a little bit more about myself and also helping my inner child be allowed her to express herself. So write a letter. Again, write a letter to your inner child, journaling. Because journaling is another way to access your intuition and also your inner wisdom. It's your inner wisdom that comes out, that, you know, it goes on the page. At first, you may be like writing an essay or a story, but once you really settle into the journaling part of it, your inner wisdom comes out. And sometimes you look back on what you've written and think, gee, who wrote that? You know, there's just some real good gems in there that you can use. Oracle cards, they support your intuitive development, because as you're sitting here pondering, of course, you know, you do your energy clearing beforehand. You're asking to connect to spirit, asking to connect to the divine, asking for the answers to come through. And also you're feeling where it sits in your body, as I've mentioned on previous episodes. So with the clouds, I mean, standing on a cloud, that's, you can see the unicorn with the butterfly wings, which means, you know, of course, endless times of transformation. And during those times of transformation, we do go through those emotions, those sort of dark feelings, those dark emotions, but there's always light there. And it always feels darkest before the dawn, as they say. So once you have those dark times, it's just no different than the weather. When the weather's raining or it's windy or, you know, it's overcast, we're connected to the universe. I mean, the universe is in us. So what we see outside, basically, we're looking at ourselves. We're connecting to the universe as ourselves. So we're going to feel cloudy. We're going to have moments of, you know, where the sun shines out. We're going to have moments of, you know, the emotions where we cry, like the rain. We're no different. But I think we're a bit more complex as human beings. We're multidimensional. We can, you know, have many, many different thoughts in the, you know, 5 minutes, 1 minute. But once you sort of sift and sort through them all, you sort of feel a little better. Of course, you know, you express it to other people as well, because other people, you know, they mirror back to you sometimes what you're thinking or what you're feeling. It's just a confirmation of what they're saying back to us. You know, we can be talking to them about our problems, our issues, or what's going on with us. And then what they're, you know, they listen and then they sort of basically mirror back stuff that, you know, we know, and it sort of touches a part of us. But getting back to the Oracle card, be true to what you are, be true to who you are. You know, you're a unicorn with butterfly wings, out in the world, sort of feeling out there, sort of by yourself, and sort of you can't see any other unicorns with butterfly wings, and you think, is, you know, there any other unicorns with butterfly wings out there? But it's just the wonderment of who we are. We're all different. So standing on the cloud, feeling like you're standing outside of where everyone is. You're standing up on the clouds, sort of feeling out there, you know, by yourself. Transformation is coming through. And so there's, of course, there's going to be changes. And as human beings, we don't like change. Sometimes we balk at the change, even though the change may be good for us. But we go through it. Even if we get, you know, spirit kicks us, drags us through the change, kicking and screaming, and we get to the other end and think, oh, it wasn't that bad after all. It's not bad here. You know, kind of like it now. Things are different. Things have sort of improved. Funny people we are. But yeah, the inner child oracle, this is what sort of really taps into your inner wisdom, taps into, because your inner child is basically an adult, but shorter, you know, smaller, shorter, because they come in without all the preconceived notions, you know, that we have put upon ourselves over the period of time. So there's a lot you can get out of oracle cards, you know, practice freedom, just get out there, get out into the world and fly. Again, that goes back to, you know, be true to who you are. So we can sort of shift from getting the external answers that we need, what's happening externally, to asking what's happening internally. What is my internal workings doing to help me move forward, because that can sort of help you move forward as well. And also you get to trust yourself, and it's another point of trusting yourself too. So another deck I like to sort of have to use also is the Shadow Work Oracle cards. That's it, they're Shadow Work Oracle cards. So again, I haven't shuffled these, but it was only the inner child ones I shuffled to and got one out just so I can sort of start fresh off the mark. And you can use the oracle cards, inner child, I use those for healing and growth, and also sort of, you know, tap on my internal inner child and got to know who she was. And of course, because we have masculine, feminine energy within us, it's also sort of tapping on the energy of the masculine inner child of myself as well. So there's the inner child, my inner child feminine side, and my inner child masculine side, because, you know, they both need healing. And that's how you can become a well-rounded individual, understanding that we both have, you know, that we all have masculine, feminine energy. So which means we have a feminine inner child and a masculine inner child. Maybe, you know, sometime you used to play with cars or, you know, G.I. Joes or something like that. Okay, now we had a jumper, which is really good. Okay, emotional release. So that might help, you know. As I said, I was feeling a little bit blah before. Now we've got emotional release. See how there's kind of like that pent-up emotion. It's coming up. And it can get into your head, into, you know, the thought forms up here. So with an emotional release, letting go creates space for new beginnings, catharsis, purification. And it sure does. Because if we keep all that emotion within us, you know, what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what thoughts are coming out, it goes up into our mental space, in our mental bodies, also with energetically. It comes up into our mind, and it can spin round and round, and we're sort of going on the same wheel all the time. And that's a way of getting out of a cycle, understanding what thoughts are coming up, what emotions are coming up, and repeating themselves, so that you can say, well, okay, I know that's a problem for me. I've got to do something about it. Either I've got to say something or get out of the situation. And that's what will stop all those emotions coming up. And having that emotional release, again, either journaling it down, writing a hate letter to someone, but it sounds very strong, a hate letter, but you're allowing that emotion out. You're allowing that anger out. You're not showing them that letter because you're just getting it out on paper. If you can't say it to the person, or, you know, or say it to how you really feel, put it on paper. That is a lot safer for you, especially if you're going through a healing process. It's a lot it's a lot easier that way. But you don't show anyone. You don't, because that, if you show somebody, that can also be, you know, that can also cause triggers for you as well. Someone might come back and use it against you, and you don't want that. So write it down, read it, write, you know, read it, write it down, read it, burn it, get rid of it. Don't put it in the rubbish, just burn it, because that's also a ritual way of getting rid of it. Allowing that anger to be let out, allowing those feelings to be let out, and burning it with, you know, it's purification. You're purifying yourself. You're giving it somewhere to go instead of holding on to it. Emotions, if you're feeling just any kind of emotion, if you're feeling fearful about a situation, if you're fearful about asking your boss for a raise, write it down. And also visualize yourself speaking to your boss, asking for that raise. So you're basically projecting yourself into the future. So this is the fear here. It's just letting go. When you're visualizing, you know, that asking your boss for a raise, you're placing yourself in that situation. And what that does is it helps bring up those emotions, so you can help work yourself out of it, you know, write them down, what fears you're having. And this is what Oracle cards can do. It's as I said, it's not just for seeing what's happening on the external. It's helping you on the internal as well. And once you you know, fix your internal, you know, get that right, then the external follows. You know. So let's pick another one from this shadow work. And shadow work, basically, it's not about the negative aspects of yourself. Shadow work is bringing out the parts of yourself that haven't seen the light of day before. You know, the part of you that goes up to your boss and says, well, I'm working very hard and I would like a raise. The part of you that goes up to, you know, somebody, you might be out at an event or a party, or part of you that goes up to someone and says, hi, my name's Karen, pleased to meet you. Can I, you know, do you mind if we have a conversation or something? The part of you that asks somebody out, you know, the part of you that goes to places you've never been before, does things you haven't done in a long time. That's what shadow work is, because they're sitting in the background here. They're sort of probably going, go on, ask for a raise, you know, and the you here is saying no, because the fear's taken over. No, they're not going to give me the raise. You know, they have all, you know, they're not going to do that for me. Okay. So what's come out now through the discussion that I was having with you is the wounded healer. Now this is also like shadow work as well. See how, you know, it looks like a masculine, feminine, but the shadow, there's the colourful part and there's the shadow. So you're talking to your shadow. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Empathy, healing, and purpose. So this is, again, it relates to shadow work. You know, if you've, again, going back to asking your boss for a raise, maybe you've asked for it before at a different company or even the same company, and you came up with a no. Why would, you know, we're not giving anyone raises, or, you know, whatever you got back at that time and it didn't happen. That can be a wound as well, because you think, well, I've asked once, it's not going to happen again. But you don't know, because it's a different time. If you go up and say, well, get all the fears out first, you write them all down and burn them, purify yourself of those fears that you have, then go up to your boss and ask for that raise. When you go up the second time, it won't feel as, you won't feel as rejected because there's feelings of rejection there. So that's one reason why you won't do it the second time. But once you get rid of those, you'll go up there with feelings of, oh, well, it can either say yes or no. So I'm ready for both. And that's where you've healed your wound. You've allowed that shadow part of yourself out. So this is what oracle cards can do. Help with your internal world. And you trust. It teaches you to trust. And eventually you won't need the cards as much anymore, you know, because you will have the confidence, because you will be feeling it yourself. You'll sit down, you might start journaling, you'll have, you know, the inspiration to start journaling about something you might be feeling a little bit off, and then start journaling, and then you'll get the confidence to have that trust that you have. That trust is built up. Your intuition is built up. Your inner wisdom is now allowed expression. So it's the expression of everything. And that's what helps build it up and allows you to move forward. Because before, it was all sort of stuck up in your shoulder, because it sticks in your body. Or stuck up in your shoulder or your left knee, or you can feel it in your hips, and it's like, oh no, I can't move forward. I always end up getting aches and pains. But then once you work through that, you can start to move forward. And that all comes from your inner wisdom and also connecting in with your intuition. And then once you sort of build on that and it becomes stronger, as it becomes stronger and stronger, you'll then see signs out in the universe. You'll see, you know, you won't need the cards to pick up and say, oh, what am I feeling, or how am I going today? It doesn't mean that you won't. You know, there may be times that you'll pick it up and think, okay, let's do some journaling. Let's pick up, it'll give me some inspiration for journaling. So you'll pick a card. And then another deck that I have here, you don't always have to shuffle. Another deck I have here is Past Life Energy. And what you can do is actually just go through, you know, it's a card of, I think they're just 44. Yeah, 44. I think the majority of oracle cards is 44 cards. Now, what you can do is just go, these are still they're fairly new, so they're still, you know, numbered 1 to 44. You can ask your spirit team, okay, I need a number. Can you please give me a number between 1 and 44? And you get 32. So I just got 32. So let's see what. Of course, I open it up to 32. Okay, thank you. What a great card I've got. So I've got 32. Imprisonment. I'm thinking, my gosh. But remember, this is past life energy. So in my past life somewhere, I felt imprisoned. Persecution and judgment. So, and we've got rats in there, sitting in there with rats. So I remember the first card I got. Hang on, I've got to get that back again. And I'm sort of circling back now to that first card I got. Now I've shuffled it back in, didn't I? The unicorn standing by itself, feeling. Funny how it sort of can do hard things. I can do hard things. Don't like doing hard things sometimes, but where are you? It's in there somewhere. Remember what it... Oh, boy, there it is. Okay. So, previously, in a past life, this is saying that I was imprisoned and felt persecution and judgment. Now, the initial card I got up, be true to who you are. See how she's by herself, but she's got 2 rats with her. And this one, be true to who you are. Fear will not stop you from shining. So I wonder if that has anything to do with how I was feeling today. Just feeling a little bit meh, bit blah, you know. I wasn't really imprisoned here, but maybe they're just the faint feelings of feeling imprisoned. You know, fear will not stop you from shining. Be true to who you are. And I wonder what this person was imprisoned for, whether it could even be witchcraft. So there was persecution there, because it says persecution and judgment. So whether that is why I'm sort of feeling like that, was feeling like that today. But see the connection you can make from the different oracle decks. So if you get a card in one deck, and okay, let's see where this comes from. We'll go through past life energies, and it gives you a bit of an idea. Maybe that's why you're feeling. So they're just, you can do lots of different things with the oracle decks. They're make sure I put it in the right way. Persecution and judgment. 32. Yeah. So that's one way of picking a card, but it's also getting that connection. So if you use different decks, you can get different meanings for each. Or you can go from 1 to 5 and have a look through all the cards. Of course, try not to be too biased and think, this is the card I want. Archangel Gabriel. Communication of all kinds. Because sometimes we can get biased and think, well, I'm not going to go with my intuition. Let me pick this one here because I like this one. There's nothing wrong with liking it. Of course, we pick all the, whereas all the Archangel cards, Archangel Haniel, look at this, Archangel Haniel, joy, gratitude and intuition. Can pick that one as well. Of course, if we look at, if we gravitate to this one, it's like, yeah, I don't want that one. But our intuition is leading us to that one. Just like the 32. I mean, that's not one that I would pick, you know, conscious mind, but asking, you know, the guides, what number will I pick? And I get that one. So that's how you can use them as a bridge to self-trust and inner wisdom. So what do you know that you have been hesitant to trust? That's always, you know, a good question to ask, because sometimes we already have the answers. It's just a matter of sitting still, listening within, and the answer will come up. Sometimes we don't like the answer. We've just got to work with the answer that we get, or we just sort of keep trying and you know, because if that's the answer that you're meant to get, it'll come out in different ways. Maybe it comes up intuitive, naturally, and organically, an organic way. Sometimes it may come out in journaling. If it comes out in journaling, or someone might say it, or you might be watching telly and it comes up on telly, that's confirmation that you need to sort of, you know, take notice. So please like and subscribe, and I hope you like session 5 of reading oracle cards. Leave me a comment, and I'll get back to you with any question that you do have. Also, I'll leave my website link in the description box, and yeah, I'm looking forward to session 6, and have a great week, great weekend, or great week whenever you get to see this. So take care, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.